All right, so let's jump into this deep dive and talk all about medicinal plants.
Okay.
Specifically for those of you born under the sign of Taurus.
Right.
I am like so curious to see what our sources have to say about how these plants can help a Taurus thrive.
Yeah.
Maybe even, smooth out some of those, shall we say, strong-willed tendencies.
Yeah, what's really interesting is how these plants work with the Taurus personality,
Oh, okay.
not against it.
Okay.
We're not talking about like changing who you are as a Taurus,
Right.
but rather just, using these natural remedies to amplify your strengths and navigate some of those classic Taurus challenges.
Okay, so let's get specific then.
Okay.
What are some of those Taurus strengths
Yeah.
that we can boost with plants? I know Taurus is an earth sign, so I'm guessing that, connection to nature plays a role.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So our sources emphasize this strong connection to nature. Taurus is all about stability, enjoying the simple pleasures,
Right.
finding beauty in the everyday.
I love that.
They're so naturally drawn to that grounding energy of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so these plants can just help strengthen that connection even further.
It's like using the earth's own energy to support those inherent Taurus qualities.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, no sign is perfect, right?
Right.
What about those Taurus challenges
Yeah.
that we can maybe smooth out with a little herbal help?
Well, the sources definitely mentioned the classic Taurus stubborn streak,
Oh, yeah.
which, let's face it,
It's real.
can sometimes turn into rigidity or a resistance to change.
For sure.
And because Tauruses are so grounded and love routine,
Right.
they can also slip into a bit of lethargy if they're not careful.
Oh, yeah. I can definitely see that it's like that desire for comfort and stability can backfire if
Yeah.
it becomes too fixed.
Yeah.
And then there's that whole Taurus thing about wanting everything to be just so.
Right.
I bet that can lead to some stress, right?
Exactly. That desire for control can definitely create tension,
Oh, for sure.
especially when things don't go according to plan.
Right?
And because Tauruses are so good at pushing through challenges, they sometimes forget to actually release that stress.
Oh, yeah.
It can build up and lead to burnout.
Okay, so we've got these wonderful Taurus qualities. Stability, appreciation for beauty, that love of peace and harmony.
Yes.
But then we have that potential for stubbornness, rigidity, stress from wanting control, and maybe even a bit of lethargy from getting stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
So how do these plants actually help?
Right.
Are we talking about magical cures here?
Not magical cures, but definitely powerful allies.
Okay.
Think of these plants as working in harmony with your Taurus energy,
Mm-hmm.
gently nudging you towards greater balance and well-being.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Tell me more about these plant allies.
All right.
Which one specifically are we talking about?
So our deep dive is going to focus on 4 plants mentioned in your sources: chamomile, valerian root,
Okay.
thyme, and basil.
Okay.
Each one has unique properties that can support different aspects of the Taurus personality.
Yeah. Perfect. So let's start with chamomile.
Okay.
That one's pretty popular, right? I know it's supposed to be calming,
Yeah.
but how does it specifically benefit a Taurus?
So chamomile is more than just calming for a Taurus.
Okay.
It's like a gentle balm for their soul.
Okay.
It helps soothe those anxieties
Yeah.
that can come up from that desire to control everything.
Right.
You know how a Taurus sometimes gets stuck in their own head,
Oh, yeah.
overthinking and worrying?
Overthinking, for sure.
Chamomile just helps quiet those racing thoughts
Right.
and allows them to reconnect with that inner peace that they crave.
So it's not just about relaxation. It's
Yeah.
about restoring that sense of harmony that's so important to a Taurus.
Exactly.
It's like chamomile helps them create that peaceful space within themselves, even when things around them feel chaotic.
Precisely. And because Tauruses are so connected to the sensory experiences, they'll really appreciate the gentle aroma and taste of chamomile tea.
It's like a mini ritual. Taking a moment to pause, breathe, and allow that chamomile energy to work its magic.
Exactly.
Okay, chamomile for inner peace. Got it.
Yeah.
What about valerian root?
Okay.
That one sounds a bit more intense.
Valerian root is definitely potent.
Okay.
It's known for promoting deep relaxation and restful sleep,
Right.
which, let's face it, can be a struggle for a Taurus who tends to overthink and worry.
Oh, I can totally see that they're lying in bed mentally replaying every detail of the day.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how they could have done things differently. Not exactly conducive to sleep, is it?
Not at all. And that's where valerian root steps in. It helps quiet those mental loops
Mm-hmm.
and allows a Taurus to surrender to sleep.
So it's not just about knocking them out. It's about addressing that deeper need for letting go,
Yeah.
for releasing that grip on control.
Exactly.
That can keep a Taurus awake at night. I love that valerian root for deep sleep and sweet surrender.
Yes.
Okay, what about the other two plants on our list? Thyme and basil.
Right.
Are they also about relaxation?
Those two are actually more about boosting energy and clarity,
Okay.
but in a way that's very specific to Taurus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of energy, thyme is the one that's supposed to be invigorating, right?
Yes. Time is interesting because it doesn't just provide like a quick burst of energy like caffeine.
Okay.
It works more subtly, helping a Taurus tap into their natural vitality.
Okay.
You know how they can sometimes get stuck in a rut,
Right.
lacking motivation?
Yeah.
Time helps clear those energetic cobwebs
Mm-hmm.
and reawakens their zest for life.
That's a great point. It's not about forcing energy.
Right.
It's about restoring a Taurus's natural vibrancy.
Exactly.
It's like reminding them of their innate strength and resilience.
Yes.
And it's also good for the respiratory system, right? It
Yes.
seems fitting for an earth sign, that connection to breath.
It is. Time helps you breathe deeply and fully, which can be especially helpful for a Taurus who tends to hold tension in their chest and shoulders.
Okay, time for revitalizing energy and deep breathing. Got it. So what about basil? What's its superpower for a Taurus?
Basil is all about mental clarity and focus.
Okay.
It can help a Taurus cut through mental fog
Right.
and make clear, grounded decisions,
Mm-hmm.
especially when they're feeling overwhelmed or stuck.
So it's like a mental detox for a Taurus,
Exactly.
helping them tap into that practical, down-to-earth approach that they're known for. I like that.
Exactly. And it's not just about problem solving. Basil also has this wonderful uplifting quality that can lift a Taurus's spirits when they're feeling down or uninspired.
Okay, so we've got chamomile for peace,
Yes.
valerian root for sleep,
Mm-hmm.
thyme for energy,
Uh-huh.
and basil for clarity.
Yes,
Those are some pretty powerful plant allies.
they are.
But I'm curious, how would a Taurus actually incorporate all of these into their daily life? It seems like a lot to juggle.
Well, it doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
The beauty of working with plants is that you can create rituals and routines that fit your individual needs and preferences.
Ooh, rituals.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I bet a Taurus would too. Mm-hmm.
They're all about routine and creating that sense of stability in their lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of just thinking about these plants as remedies,
Right.
let's explore how we can weave them into a Taurus's daily life in a way that feels meaningful and supportive.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear more.
Okay. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of medicinal plants for Taurus. Before we move on to those rituals you mentioned, are there any other insights from the sources about how these plants can help with specific Taurus challenges?
You know, that's a great point. I'm all about practical advice. So if there are more ways these plants can help, let's hear it.
Well, we talked about how Tauruses can be resistant to change, right? Our sources suggest that this can sometimes lead to conflicts, especially in relationships or work situations.
Right. It's like they dig in their heels and refuse to budge, even if it's causing friction with the people around them.
Exactly. And that's where chamomile's gentle energy can be so helpful.
It's not about forcing a Taurus to change their mind, but rather about helping them soften their stance and approach the situation with a bit more flexibility.
So instead of getting defensive and shutting down chamomile, can help a Taurus stay open to other perspectives, even if they don't agree with them.
Precisely, it allows for more constructive communication and helps a Taurus navigate those potentially tense situations with grace.
I love that it's like chamomile helps them tap into that diplomatic side that Tauruses are known for. So chamomile for flexibility in relationships, that's a good one to remember. What about those times when a Taurus is feeling overwhelmed by stress? We talked about valerian root for sleep, but can it help with stress management during the day?
It can. Our sources suggest that even small doses of valerian root throughout the day can help a Taurus manage those stress levels and prevent them from reaching the boiling point.
Okay.
It's like a gentle reminder to let go, to not take things so seriously, and to trust that everything will work out.
It's like a little dose of perspective, right?
Yeah.
Helping a Taurus remember that they don't have to control every little thing, that seems especially helpful for those Tauruses who tend to be workaholics or perfectionists.
Absolutely. Valerian root can help them loosen their grip and find more joy in the process rather than getting bogged down in the details.
Okay, so chamomile for flexibility and valerian root for stress management.
Mm-hmm.
What about those times when a Taurus might be feeling uninspired or lacking motivation? Can our energizing friends thyme and basil help with that?
They can indeed. Our sources emphasize that time is especially helpful for a Taurus who's feeling stuck in a rut, lacking that spark of
It
enthusiasm.
seems like they've lost their mojo, that zest for life that makes a Taurus so magnetic.
Exactly. And time helps rekindle that inner fire. It
Hmm.
reminds them of their strength, their resilience, and their ability to overcome challenges.
So it's not just about physical energy, it's about reigniting that passion, that drive to create and experience life to the fullest.
You got it. And the sources also suggest that time can help with mental clarity, which is essential for a Taurus who's trying to break free from limiting patterns and embrace new possibilities.
So it's like clearing the mental cobwebs and allowing new ideas to flow in. I love that. What about basil? How does it help a Taurus get unstuck?
Basil is interesting because it works on a more mental level. Our sources suggest that it can help sharpen focus, enhance concentration, and boost those problem-solving skills that Tauruses are known for.
So if a Taurus is facing a creative block or a challenging decision, basil can help them approach the situation with a clear head and a fresh perspective.
Exactly. It's like giving their brain a boost, helping them tap into their innate wisdom and find innovative solutions.
This is also fascinating. It's amazing how these plants can address such specific challenges, almost like they have a personality of their own.
It really is remarkable, and I think it speaks to the deep connection between humans and nature, the way these plants can work in harmony with our own unique energies to create a sense of balance and well-being.
Okay, so we've talked about chamomile for flexibility, valerian root for stress management time, for reigniting passion, and basil for mental clarity. Those are some pretty amazing tools.
They are, and the best part is that there are so many ways to incorporate these plants into your life.
Speaking of which, I'm ready to hear about those rituals you mentioned earlier. How can a Taurus actually weave these plants into their daily routine in a way that feels meaningful and supportive?
Well, let's start with the morning. Imagine waking up, and instead of reaching for that cup of coffee, you create a special ritual around preparing a thyme or basil infusion.
Okay, I'm already intrigued what makes this a ritual rather than just making tea.
It's all about intention and mindfulness. Instead of rushing through the process, you take a moment to connect with the plant's energy. You might choose a special mug light, a candle, or say a little affirmation as you prepare your infusion.
It's like turning an everyday activity into a sacred moment, a way to honor yourself and set a positive tone for the day ahead.
Exactly. And as you sip your thyme or basil infusion, you can visualize those invigorating properties, awakening your senses and filling you with energy and clarity.
I love that it's like a mini meditation to start the day. What other rituals can a Taurus create around these plants?
Well, as the day goes on, whenever those stressful moments inevitably arise, a Taurus can create a chamomile ritual. Instead of letting those anxieties spiral out of control, they pause, take a few deep breaths, and prepare a cup of chamomile tea.
It's like a little timeout for the soul.
Exactly. And as they sip their tea, they can visualize those calming properties washing over them, soothing their nerves, and restoring their inner peace.
It's like creating a little oasis of tranquility in the midst of a hectic day. I can definitely see a Taurus appreciating that. What about evening rituals?
As evening approaches, a Taurus might create a valerian root ritual to help them wind down and prepare for sleep. They might draw a warm bath infused with valerian root, or diffuse some calming essential oils while they journal or read.
It's all about slowing down, tuning into those sensory experiences, and allowing those plant allies to guide them towards a restful night's sleep. These rituals sound so intentional and grounding.
They are, and remember, these are just a few examples. The beauty of working with plants is that you can create rituals that feel personally meaningful and supportive.
What I'm hearing is that it's not just about the plants themselves, it's about the intention and the mindfulness we bring to the experience.
Absolutely. It's about creating a conscious connection with nature and allowing those plant allies to support us on our journey toward greater well-being.
And speaking of connecting with nature, our sources also mention that spending time outdoors can enhance the benefits of these plants.
That's a great point. For Taurus, who's so connected to the earth element, spending time in nature can be incredibly restorative.
I love that idea. It's like creating a synergy between the plant's energy and the earth's energy. Maybe a Taurus goes for a nature walk and brings along a thermos of chamomile tea to enjoy in a peaceful spot.
That's a wonderful idea. Or they could create a little herb garden and tend to their chamomile valerian root thyme and basil plants, connecting with them on a deeper level.
It's like bringing that Taurus love of beauty and nature into their everyday life. This is all so inspiring.
It is, and there's so much more to explore in the world of herbalism. We've only just scratched the surface.
I feel like we've covered a lot of ground, though. We've talked about the Taurus personality, their strengths and challenges, how specific plants can help, and even how to create meaningful rituals around those plants.
We have, and I think the key takeaway is that these plants can be powerful allies for a Taurus, helping them to thrive in all areas of their life.
I agree, but before we wrap things up, I'm curious, what else do the sources say about this connection between Taurus and the plant world?
Well, there's one more fascinating aspect we haven't touched on yet.
Mm.
It has to do with the way a Taurus can use these plants to enhance their creativity and connect with their sensual side.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing. Tell me more. Okay, so we're back and ready to hear more about this connection between Taurus plants and creativity.
Right. It's not something I would automatically think of.
Right.
But now that you mention it, it kind of makes sense, right? Tauruses love beauty. They
Mm.
appreciate the finer things in life,
Right.
and they're often drawn to those creative pursuits.
Exactly. And our sources suggest that these four plants, chamomile, valerian root thyme, and basil, can actually enhance those creative impulses in a Taurus.
Okay, I'm really curious to hear how this works.
Yeah.
Let's break it down plant by plant.
Okay.
Starting with chamomile, how does that tie into creativity? I know it's calming, but I wouldn't necessarily think of it as, like, inspiring.
Well, think about it this way. Creativity often flows best when we're relaxed and receptive, not when our minds are racing with anxieties.
Right.
Chamomile helps create that calm mental space where inspiration can take root and blossom.
That makes sense. It's like chamomile helps clear the mental clutter so that those creative sparks can come through.
Exactly.
What about valerian root? That one seems even more counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Isn't it mostly used for sleep? It is. But remember, valerian root is also about letting go, about surrendering to the flow.
Right.
And sometimes that's exactly what a Taurus needs to unlock their creativity. They
Yeah.
can get so caught up in trying to control every detail
Oh, for sure.
that they block their own creative energy.
So valerian root helps them get out of their own way to trust the process and allow those creative impulses to emerge.
Exactly.
I like that it's helping them tap into that intuitive dreamlike state where creative breakthroughs often happen.
Exactly. And speaking of dreams, the sources also suggest that valerian root can enhance dream recall, which can be a rich source of creative inspiration for a Taurus.
That's fascinating. Okay, so chamomile for creating a calm mental space and valerian root for letting go and accessing those dreamlike states.
Yes.
What about thyme and basil? How do those energizing plants tie into creativity?
Well, thyme is interesting because it's associated with courage and vitality.
Right.
And sometimes those are the qualities a Taurus needs to overcome creative blocks or self-doubt.
That makes sense. It's like time gives them that extra push to take risks, to experiment, and to put their ideas out into the world without fear of judgment.
Precisely. And it's not just about courage. Time also helps clear the mind and sharpen focus, which can be essential for bringing those creative visions to life.
Okay, so time for courage, clarity, and bringing ideas to fruition. What about basil? How does that enhance creativity for a Taurus?
Basil is all about mental clarity and focus,
Yeah.
but it also has this wonderful uplifting quality that can spark joy and inspiration.
So it's like basil helps a Taurus approach their creative pursuits with a sense of playfulness and delight, rather than getting bogged down in perfectionism.
Exactly. It helps them tap into that childlike wonder and enthusiasm that can fuel creative breakthroughs.
I love that. Okay, so we've got chamomile for calm,
Yes.
valerian root for letting go,
Right.
thyme for courage and clarity,
Yeah.
and basil for joy and inspiration.
Yeah.
Those are some pretty powerful plant allies for any creative Taurus.
Right.
But there's one more piece of the puzzle I'm curious about. You mentioned something about these plants helping a Taurus connect with their sensual side. What did you mean by that?
Well, Taurus is an earth sign, and earth signs are known for their connection to the physical world, to sensory experiences.
Right.
And these plants can help amplify that sensuality in a way that's both grounding and pleasurable.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. Tell me more. How does this work with each plant?
Well, let's start with chamomile. Its gentle aroma and calming properties can help a Taurus relax and fully inhabit their body.
Okay.
It's like it's inviting them to slow down, to savor the moment, and to appreciate the simple pleasures of life.
That makes sense. It's like chamomile helps them tune into their senses and experience the world with more presence.
Exactly. And valerian root, with its ability to promote deep relaxation and restful sleep, can help a Taurus release tension and fully embrace their sensual side.
It's like it's helping them let go of inhibitions and surrender to pleasure. I can see how that could be very liberating for a Taurus.
It can be. And it's not just about physical pleasure. It's also about appreciating beauty, indulging in sensory delights, and savoring all the richness that life has to offer.
That's a beautiful way to put it. What about thyme and basil? How do they enhance sensuality for a Taurus?
Well, thyme is known for its invigorating and stimulating properties. It can awaken the senses, boost energy, and enhance physical vitality, all of which can contribute to a more fulfilling sensual experience.
So it's like time helps a Taurus feel more alive and present in their body, more receptive to pleasure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And basil, with its uplifting and clarifying properties, can help a Taurus connect with their senses in a more mindful and joyful way.
It's like it's adding a touch of sweetness and delight to those sensory experiences. This is also fascinating. I never thought about plants in this way before.
It's amazing, isn't it? The plant world has so much to offer, not just in terms of physical healing, but also in terms of emotional, mental, and even spiritual well-being.
It's like these plants are gifts from the earth, offering us support and guidance on our journey toward wholeness.
Beautifully said. And I think for a Taurus who's so connected to nature and the earth element, these plants can be especially powerful allies.
I agree. This deep dive has been so insightful, and I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for the connection between Taurus and the plant world.
It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you, and I hope our listeners feel inspired to explore their own relationship with plants and discover how they can enhance their well-being in unique and unexpected ways.
Remember, even if you're not a Taurus, the wisdom we've discussed today can apply to anyone seeking to deepen their connection with nature and discover the transformative power of plants.
Absolutely. And as always, we encourage you to listen to your body, experiment with different plants and rituals, and find what works best for you.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of medicinal plants for Taurus. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.